Oh, yeah. You're listening to the 70s Kiss podcast. And I'm your host, the Plaster Podcaster, Steve-O from Knoxville, Tennessee. This show is about Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss. If you're looking for something else, you can just keep on knocking. Yep, and here we go again. We got the famous Lionel Baker of Backdoor Records on the line. How's it going, Lionel?
Oh, pretty good.
So we're going to talk about Lionel's past with Backdoor Records and the 70s Kiss. So what was it like for you, Lionel? And tell everybody how you got started.
Well, I think I got turned on to them when they did they had that Alive album out, and they ran a commercial on TV for it that showed them on stage. And as soon as I seen Gene Simmons breathing fire, I just went, wow, that's the coolest thing I ever seen. And I went out the next day and bought the album and was sold on it right there from the start. Blew me away.
So that was your first album, and then obviously you went and bought the first and second and third albums, the early albums.
Oh, yeah.
So what turned out to be your favorite album out of that bunch?
Well, Live, and then studio album, Destroyer.
Right.
That really blew me away. And then they put out this new Destroyer with remixed and everything by Bob Ezra. That's pretty cool, too.
As I said in some of the other podcasts, I met Lionel here and Al in '79 and started buying some of these, black and whites and stuff that Al had in the store. And then I met Lionel, I guess, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years later. And he turned me on to just all kinds of stuff. I mean, I would just go into the store with this crazy kid with a spiked hairdo, and I was just looking for something to get into.
Oh, yeah.
And it just seemed like every time I went in there, Lionel had the fix, And so Kiss was one of those things. So tell me some more. What was your first show?
Seen them, I think it was on the Rock and Roll Over tour. They played Johnson City, and that was the first one I went to, and that totally blew me away, too. And then I think the next time was Dynasty Tour. They played Knoxville with Judas Priest opening up for them.
Wow, I bet that was a really cool show to see right there.
I dressed up like Gene Simmons for that one. And my 6-inch heels. And
So what tour was what Judas Priest tour was that?
That was about a month after they put out Unleashed in the East.
Okay.
And, they smoked. Of course, you could tell about Rob Halford right off the bat when he pulled up that kickstand and started sucking on it.
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely one show that I would have loved to see. Judas Priest and Kiss, Unleashed in the East album. But so going back to some of the first albums and stuff, did you collect? I mean, were you a collector amongst the cards, the posters? I mean, just everything Kiss.
Not everything, but yeah, I did have the cards and several of the posters and things like that. And then when Gene went crazy with all this stuff like keychains and stuff like that, I just said, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
But magazines in particular, yeah, I really collected a lot of magazines that were in at the time.
Right. I remember coming down to Backdoor Records and picking out some of those magazines, or just picking them up and posters and stuff people had brought in and traded in or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so which was your favorite member of the band? Who did you get into the most? Was it Gene Simmons, actually? I mean, I know you said you saw...
I've met Gene a couple of times, too.
Well, tell us about that.
Oh, well, first time was after that Dynasty show in Knoxville. I went up, and they had it rigged up where they had a whole floor in the Hyatt Regency down there. And, of course, they had a little note on the elevator, meet the band, go to this room right there. Well, that was their bodyguard's room. We figured that out pretty quick. And so anyway, I just lurked around in there to find out which one he was in, and knocked on his door, and he had some hooker in the room at the time. So I gave him pictures of my artwork and whatnot. And then,
what was her name? What was her name?
Hell if I know. But next time I met him, I think was Unmasked, when they took their makeup off. Again, they stayed in the Hyatt Regency down there in Knoxville, and I caught him before the show in the little old store that they have in there, the gift shop. And some girl came up to him, he started hugging her and said, "Honey," with real loud, said, "Honey, you're going to have my baby tonight." But yeah, when they took their makeup off, man, they were real friendly to fans because
yeah.
Apparently they're kind of on the downslide. Then they let me and the guys we got in backstage, let us in between the guardrail and the stage to take pictures. And yeah, that was quite a night. That was.
Well, what was the Unmasked show like? Now, was that Eric Carr?
Well, it wasn't Unmasked. It was when was it they took the makeup off?
Oh, Lick It Up.
Yeah, Lick It Up. Yeah, it was on that Lick It Up tour. Yeah. Of course, as after Ace and Peter done split.
Yeah, they'd done their thing and changed around and everything. But well, that's pretty cool. So you only seen them once, and the original state was Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah. Well, no, the Dynasty, that was still all of them too.
Okay, well tell us about the Dynasty show.
Yeah, boy, I don't remember as much about that one. I was too busy trying to balance my stuff on them 6-inch heels that the crowd swaying back and forth. But,
so that's the one where you dressed up like Gene Simmons.
Yeah. Oh well, I also caught them on the Creatures of the Night tour too. They had the whole stage was made up as a tank. That was really awesome.
Now, was that Ace Frehley or Vinnie Vincent?
That was Vinnie Vincent.
Okay.
Pretty good pictures at that one. Vinnie Vincent posed for me 2 or 3 times for some shots on that.
So tell me what it was like in the 70s when you very first got, what year was it? So you were saying it was Alive and you saw the commercial.
76. It was a commercial on when the originals came out.
The originals, yeah, I remember
That's what it was. That came out, I think they put that out after Destroyer. I think Destroyer was already out at the time, but I'd heard them, but I had no idea what this was like until I seen that commercial. I'm like, that just blew me away. I'm like, geez, I got to check this out.
Yeah. So in your opinion, during that time, especially when they broke, because we all know that during Kiss Alive, that's kind of when it took off. That's kind of when it just kind of blasted off. Was the fan base at that time just crazy for Kiss like Elvis? The Beatles?
Not quite. Now that happened on now about that time Love Gang came out. That was when they really went. I mean, that's as far as the extreme popular. That's when they got voted, #1 band in all the magazines and all this stuff. But it's when that one came out. And they were recording Alive too. That's when they just really went into the stratosphere.
Right. So, with your experience at Backdoor Records, you were actually working there in the 80s when the transition had happened into Unmasked.
Yeah.
So, when this album came out and they kind of presented Eric Carr as the new guy, and you're dealing with Kiss fans firsthand, working at the record shop. How did the fans really take that? Because I know when they come in, you were the first guy that were saying, well, what's going on with this? And what's the rumor about this new drummer? Were the fans, were they Were they excited that there was a new character? Were they bummed out?
More bummed out than anything that Peter Criss split.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that.
But Eric Carr turned out to be really good, and after a couple of years, everybody really took to him pretty well.
Yeah, Eric Carr was something else. So so I know you also went and seen Ace Frehley, and you actually met Ace as well. So tell us about that. I'm just going to get it all out of you.
Well, I didn't get to talk to him, but I did get him to sign an album.
Oh, okay.
With Frehley's comment. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
He was smoking.
Yeah, because I had met Paul Stanley, and I was asking him about Frehley's comment at the time, and he kind of smarted off to me, wouldn't really give me an answer. Told me to give Ace a call if I wanted to know.
Surprise.
Yeah. But so what was that show like? I mean, was it big production? Was Ace on his game?
Oh, he was on his game, but it was a small club.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it was down Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so
who opened up for him? But he was really on the ball. His guitar and everything.
With all of the bands in the area and stuff, I know you've met a lot of people working in that record store, and you've influenced a bunch of people, and I was one of them. I would start coming in there, I think about, I started bugging you around maybe 82, 80.
82, I think that's shortly after I started working there.
Yeah, and you turned me on to, just obscure stuff that was just hitting the area, not really on the airways or anything like that, like, Too Fast for Love, Motley Crue, Metallica. I mean, there was just a bunch of stuff that you turned me on to before it even hit the mainstream. It was all underground. And I'm sure that there was a bunch of people like me at that time that was coming in there that you were just kind of, telling them the stuff they need to know, because, I mean, there was a bunch of stuff that I didn't know. And I would take a ride down to Backdoor Records, and I'd be like, "Damn, I'm going to ask Lionel. He'll know."
Yeah, I carried everything before any of the corporate chain stores even knew anything about them. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, the first time I saw Too Fast for Love, Motley Crue, it was in Backdoor Records, and
Records edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sold 100 of them things.
So I can remember my Kiss collection, which I had a problem with a Kiss collection because, in the early days, my mother, and she'd get rid of it for me. And, I would come down and I would buy stuff like the picture discs and stuff like that. And then come back down, something else would come out, and I ended up trading you like my picture disc back for something new. And I think that might have been Judas Priest or Iron Maiden or something like that. So tell me what it was like working in a music store dealing with a bunch of Kiss fans. I mean, how many Kiss fans do you think were in the Tri-Cities area?
Oh, God. Ain't no telling. Every time they come, it'd sell out. So there's a crap load of Kiss fans around here.
Yeah, well, I know that, but people that you dealt with in general, I mean, that would come in the store to bug a crap out of you, like I was.
Well, it wasn't too bad. It didn't send me to Woodridge Asylum or nothing, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a few.
So, out of all of those people that you dealt with, there had to be somebody that brought something into that store that was Kiss, 70s Kiss related, that you got a trade on.
Yeah, the first tour book.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
so who is this unlucky person?
I don't know. I don't remember, and I don't care. I got it.
And you still got it, right?
No, actually, I think I put it up and sold it.
Oh, man. So what is your most...
Oh, I sold it for like $120, or no, I think it was $150. I think that's what I got out of it.
Wow. The very first Kiss tour book. What is your prized possession today that you may have obtained from that store, or just your trading abilities? What do you have that's Kiss related today that you're not going to let go?
Probably my Gene Simmons foot tall or 2 foot tall action figure that they sold at oh gosh, where was that? Spencer's.
Yep.
You mean them great big ones that they had? Yeah, I've got that. That ain't going nowhere. Of course, I took mine and had it blood puking all out of it.
What about from the 70s? Anything left from the 70s you haven't sold?
I don't think so. I think I ended up selling all of it. Because Kiss fans today pay all kinds of money for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think I remember trying to swindle you out of that Freely's Comet autograph. There was just a bunch of things that you had down there that I just couldn't afford, but I would come in and, I would get a couple albums and go listen to them for a month or so and copy them on a cassette or whatever, and then I'd bring them back down there and trade them to you for something else and get something else and hang on that for a while. But I don't know, during that time, man, I don't know if you remember or not, but I just kind of got burnt right after Dynasty. Right after Dynasty and Unmasked, I just kind of got burned. I didn't care anything about the Elder. For some...
Oh, you mean you got burnt too? I thought everybody did.
Oh, everybody did. Everybody did.
Everybody got burned out on them at that time.
I had this one quest, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but I'd come in your store every once in a while and I'd say, "Hey man, did you get a good copy of Kiss Originals yet? I'd like to have a copy of that." And you'd always say, "No, but it'll probably come in pretty soon. Somebody will bring it in." And I never did get a copy of it. I had one copy of it that my mother broke in 76 or 77, and then I obtained another copy, and it was just like destroyed. Whoever had it had listened to it over and over, and the cover was just worn out. And I sold it, but I always wanted to try to get a first run of the Kiss Originals with all the inserts and stuff in it.
Never did get the originals too. They put out an originals too. I never was able to get that one.
And here's one of the things that kind of freaked me out a little bit. As I said at the beginning, we would come to Backdoor Records looking for the newest thing that was out. And when we were young, and you were the guy that everybody always talked to. And when we would come into that store, you would have the news on something, whether it be Ace Frehley, Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, Paul Stanley, or Randy Rhoads or Yngwie Malmsteen or Anthrax or something like that. There would always be some kind of news or a story that we could pick up down there. And I hadn't talked to you in years and talked to you on the phone the other night to find out that you don't even own a computer. So that kind of freaked me out, and we can go into that if you want to, but
I figured Gene Simmons probably owns interest in it, and I'm not giving him any more money.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of surprised me a little bit because you were the guy with the information, and now we're living in the information age, and you didn't own a PC, and that just really surprised me. But hey, I get it. I mean, I know other people that don't have them too, and I know why. They're afraid that the NSA is going to come knocking on the door and steal their Kiss Originals album.
Yeah, I'm terrified of that. Yeah.
Or a Kiss UFO will fly over and beam up their Kiss collection.
Still my Thin Lizzy collection.
That would just suck. But all right. Well, just wanted to yell at you and say hey. And I know you don't know anything about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame except for what I told you. So
that sucks.
What do you think about the situation? Do you think that they should let all the guys that's been a part of Kiss be involved in it, or should it be the original four that came up with the idea?
I'll be the original four, and Gene and Paul ought to be horsewhipped, flogged in the public square right on TV.
Nice. Well, yeah. I mean, I was.
Of course, Paul would probably like it. So.
Yeah, he probably would. I was talking to Pat about that, and we were talking. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of pissed off at Gene and Paul right now, but it's just kind of weird. You know, I was telling him one of the things that turned me off about them was the cheap car salesman, you know, thing.
Mentality.
Yeah, you know, every time they would come out and they had to talk about something, it was similar to David Lee Roth. You know, it's like this big spiel. Instead of being the dangerous rock and roll band they start out with like you were saying, when Kiss Alive hit, man, let me tell you what, that was an explosive time, an explosive album. And to go from Kiss Alive to Dynasty, and then, you know, the following albums after that, or, you know, we won't even talk about the one album, but
it was really sickening.
Yeah, it was terrible. It's almost kind of like, you know, going to see Metallica the first time up in Freedom Hall and opening for Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne's up there all glammed out in this stupid get-up, and Metallica comes out and just almost rips the roof off the place. They had to stop the show because they broke the barricade.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And yeah, it was probably one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. And they said there's a rumor that they cracked the ceiling, you know, in Freedom Hall.
Yeah, I got to meet Cliff Burton on that one.
Yeah. It was just an awesome show. But then, you know, to see Metallica go from that to the sellout Metallica, yeah. You know, it's the same thing with Kiss. You know, I kind of...
Well, Temptation apparently is too much for most of them to handle. They get that big money dangling in front of them, and they can't resist it.
Yeah, but what they don't... I think what they forget is what got them to the point to where they were able to get that big money dangled in front of them. It was that first creation. And a lot of bands don't stay with that. You know, Iron Maiden stuck with it. Of course, they've had some member changes, and you could see when the member changes happened, the change. But, you know, even Judas Priest did it a little bit too. You know, there was a couple other bands, but, you know, you get these bands like, you know, Led Zeppelin never changed. You know, of course, their career ended because of the drummer, but I don't know. I'm just glad I wasn't able to see Led Zeppelin go from Led Zeppelin to Glam Zeppelin.
To Dread Zeppelin.
You know what I mean? At least one of them didn't let me down, but you know, I'm still glad they're out there and everything, and I hope they can get it together and, you know, maybe do another album and put all that bullshit behind them and rock and roll one time for the fans and just put out a real good album, you know, a 70s style Kiss album, not some blown up bullshit that's got a secondary writer that's going to get their face on MTV, because I think that's what they were trying to do during that time when MTV hit.
Well, you know, that's where they unmasked herself at too. You know, it was on MTV. That was a big deal at the time.
Yeah, they unmasked herself on MTV.
Makeup.
Yeah, that whole video thing, I think, ruined a lot of things for the bands. You know, it took away the mystique. And then, you know, you've got Kiss running around in the 70s and everybody wondering who these guys are, what do they look like? And then all of a sudden the mystique is gone. They come on TV and take it off. So to me, I'm sitting here going, okay, well, you know, your guys' music's pretty good. It's, you know, but would we know who you are? I mean, would we even know who you are if you hadn't put the makeup on? You know, if you'd have never put the makeup on and had that spectacle and breathing fire and all that stuff with the big show, would there be a Kiss? You know, would there be Kiss albums? So you come out and you take your makeup off, and which was your big thing, and, you know, like you said, on MTV, and it's not even the original band.
Yeah. Yeah, to me they ended with Creatures of the Night, because that was a killer album, and they just, from there on, it was just nosedive.
Yeah, kind of a nosedive. Yeah. Well, you know, on this last album they did, I was telling Pat, you know, that song Within reeks of old Kiss, you know, and so I know they still have the chemistry to be able to put something together like that, you know, and make it big. But
what new album?
The Psycho Circus album that they did.
I'm sorry. That was lukewarm. them.
Yeah. There was a couple on there that were cool, and that song Within was just really, really, just Destroyer era or right before Destroyer. It just had that feel to it. But I don't know.
You would think after all that time, they could have cranked out a real killer album, getting back together, and I was disappointed with it overall.
Yeah. Well, all right, folks, there it is. Lionel Baker from Backdoor Records. You got anything you want to say to anybody out there, Lionel?
Yeah, any pretty young girls that want to look me up, look me right on up.
Yeah, we can get you fixed right up with Mr. Baker there. All right, man. We'll see you next time.
I'm always needing nude models.
So that's a wrap. Well, that's it, folks. Until next time, this is the Plaster Podcaster saying, I'm out. Oh, yeah.
Look, it's rock and roll.